Even yesterday, Apple released another set of iPhones, and so you know there is this urge to get the fastest and then the newest technology.
There is this kind of increase in consumerism within the world amongst consumers, more consumers like the universities, etc.
Yeah.
But this must be guided.
Exactly.
Because the university itself or the higher education institution themselves must be an avenue for sustainability. We have subscribed to we have no choice than to be sustainable in our. You will need high-speed technology to service students. Maybe a secretary in another office may not really need that kind of high-speed technology, and therefore the old computers in the admissions office must not be thrown away in related activities. So if AAU decides, in Ghana for example, to set up this intertertiary review center, AAU can apply for funding from the Act, from the US fund, to run such a facility. The other thing is that there's also 3% for R&D, research and development. And there I see universities and research institutions also benefiting from this fund. The estimation, according to some calculation, even from the ministry, is over $100 million per year from the levies alone. So if universities are able to position themselves very well in this e-waste research, the fund to run innovative programs, management of the very things they themselves manufacture. I mean, you'll find very interesting results. I don't want to go into the results, but you know that the results will be very interesting. We can actually include e-waste end-of-life management of electronic appliances as part of the courses that are run by the computer science engineering departments. And this funding can be sourced from the e-waste fund to do some of these things.
I think our problem, as I have observed with waste in general, is that we are not sensitized enough. Organic, we put everything together and then we dump it. So as you said, it would help getting these waste being used for its proper things that is supposed to be used to that. And then they are trying to change our mentality, our mindset on how to dispose waste. I think it would be a problem. So isn't it about educating us from exactly?
We have grown to know linear way of this. I buy the water, drink, throw away the bottle. I buy the next water, drink, throw away. So everything is linear. We don't look at the circular nature of waste and resource use. And then in the perception of abundance of resources. So if I buy the water and throw it away, after all there are a lot of plastics in the system, so I can have another one. So like you said, it should start from the basics, but then the basics should not be rooted in culture, like the way some estimate it to be in billions of dollars per year. Now we need to look at it in sustainable consumption. Everything must be looked at within a circular economy, and we must start, because what is the incentive for me to do source separation?
Yes, exactly, because some of them can be used as biogas. Some of the rest they are near lives. If it's not, and then we can use it for something else. So even if we are separated in the house and then those coming in are missing it, then what's the point? That
is it. So we need a certain mindset, not only from the basics, but all the way up to the top. We should not only give collection contracts, but we should also look at recycling contracts. So that if you give a contract to, let's say, I don't want to mention the companies here to promote them, company A, and you tell them you are collecting maybe 1,000 tons of waste per day. I want you to recycle 20% of the waste you collect. And in that 20%, I want you to show me the incomes you are generating out of that 20% recycling, which will be part of my payment to you. And anytime you miss the target for recycling, I am going to sanction you for it. The companies will change the way they do things.
It still comes back to the government, you know. It still comes back. So my last question. And in your opinion, should the government put out stricter rules when we are acquiring the second-hand goods for electronics, because at the end of the day they would become waste. Is it essential that the government put out tighter rules on our borders or customs so that these things don't come in, or we avoid completely second-hand goods?
Well, avoidance of second-hand goods is a tricky area, because we also have a lot of substandard brand new equipment on the market. And so the perception of second-hand is good sometimes is justified. Within the context of sustainable development too, reuse is important in the total global economy. What I will propose is, if we have passed a rule that every equipment that comes to the country must pay the advanced eco levy, we must make sure everybody pays.
You know, what I find challenging about even we paying the eco levy is that people know, as you said, they were willing to bring your school the equipment, but when it came, most of them were spoiled.
Yes.
Why is it that don't we put a rule, something that when you bring this equipment and then they are spoiled, we ban you? Something that makes it people a bit on their toes when dumping these things. Because looking at documentaries, going through the e-waste documentaries, you could see that most of these appliances travel from Europe to China, and then from China straight to Africa. And so, aren't there supposed to be stricter or tighter rules? That is what I want to.
Well, there are ways of looking at it. And of course, from Europe, some of them come straight to Ghana.
Yes,
actually,
definitely.
I remember in 2012, I went with experts from Netherlands to the harbor, and they found equipment that people have returned to Philips reject stores. And these were secretly and illegally shipped to Ghana. See, the tighter rules for import should be looked at in terms of
yes, the big ones.
Yes. No matter how much the person pays, the cost per recycling is not commensurate with how much levy value that a recycler wants to import. Maybe at individual level, African countries should avoid individual traders from importing these equipments that have come to their end of life.
Yeah.
But if I own a recycling company, I can sign a contract with, let's say, the Bank of England, that, okay, when your equipment comes to end of life, bring it to my company. And we use the Basel Convention notification, very strict provisions for trading in hazardous substances.
Good.
Maybe African countries must begin to relook at.
Yeah, and